Welcome in, everyone, to another midweek episode of Flyover Footy, as we're once again between matches. My name is Matt Baker, and on this show, we're going to run through some player updates from Tuesday's training before hearing directly from caretaker head coach David Critchley, and then our featured interview with left back Jayden Reid. Tuesday's training was split between a regen day for those who started last weekend in Portland's record-breaking heat, plus Conrad Wallen was with them, who missed last week with a red card suspension, and then the rest of the players who had more of a traditional training day, and that list was Ben Lunt, Christian Oliveras, Kyle Hebert, Josh Yarrow, Joey Zielinski, Yaziel Orozco, Brendan McSorley, Jean De Silva, Tomas Ostrak, Jake Girdwood-Reich, Michael Wenzel, Cedric Toyshirt, and Giannis Horn. So a few notables here. Brendan McSorley and Yaziel Orozco were still with the team. And on those last two, Giannis Horn was a full participant in training, while Cedric Toyshirt participated in a limited manner and then did some running separately around the training fields while the group played in their small-sided drills on Tuesday's practice. And before we hear my featured interview with Jayden Reid, where you'll hear from a range of topics from his original signing to his recovery, and it's one of my absolute favorite interviews, we have David Critchley, who spoke after training on Tuesday to give updates on key injuries to Henry Kessler, Edu Leuven, and Chris Durkin, but also what he took away from the late game issues City had after their subs were made and what he and the team can learn from. I hope you enjoy hearing from Critch and my discussion with Jayden Reid, and I thank you so much for joining me on this midweek edition of Flyover Footy. We'll have another quick turnaround this week, too, for our LA Galaxy preview to close out this week. My name is Matt Baker. Here's David Critchley, followed by Jay Reid. Coach, you mentioned some of the positives you saw from the subs, but after all of the subs were made, you conceded and you couldn't fight back to get that tying goal. So what did you see that you need to improve upon, whether it be from the subs or some of their play on the field?
Yeah, I think obviously when you concede late from a set piece standpoint, everyone should have specific designed roles in their moments. So making sure that we are very clear with guys like, hey, here's our roles and responsibilities in dead ball situations for sure, would be something that we want to improve as a staff. So yeah, for us, we always analyse as a staff as well. We want to get better, just like the players want to get better. So that'll be probably a key moment for us as a staff moving forward.
Any updates you can give on Henry Kessler?
So far, Henry Kessler, obviously, we think he'll be able to get into the week and train with us. It's just kind of monitoring, obviously, what it looks like for him right now. He might have a slower week in training to try and prepare for Saturday. He will want to play, he'll tell you that 100%. We also want to try and protect him because I've told you guys this last week, it's still a long season. So just trying to get through the week now and see where he's at, yeah.
And Edu Leuven, Chris Durkin?
We believe Edu Leuven will still be out with a hamstring. And who's the other one, sorry?
Chris Durkin.
And Chris is in the same situation that Kess is in, just going day by day with him, yeah.
Jayden Reid, thanks for joining us on Flyover Footy. First time talking with you, so I want to take it back just a little bit. Last year when you were first signed to a City contract, talk us through what those conversations were like, because it was a very tumultuous time in St. Louis City's history, not unlike right now, but what was that like, and what were you told by Lutz and the staff when you were first signed?
So, honestly, I was caught by surprise. It wasn't like there was any prior talks, but the City 2 season was progressing, and then we were now about to go into Leagues Cup for the first team, and there was opportunities for guys. I believe John Klein was called up first, and then Michael Wenzel. So I was hoping that my time would come, and then I received a call saying to come to first team training, and from there I had a good training. Then the next day, I got another call from Bradley Carnell saying that I'd be starting against Atlanta, and that was just a surreal moment, and it was a moment that I was ready for, that I prepared for, and I was ready to seize that.
So from your words, what do you bring to the team? Like, what are your best qualities? How do you view yourself as best able to help this team?
I feel like my best qualities is, one, my mental dominance. Every time I step on the field, I always want to leave a very strong impact where, I can't be missed in the game. I also feel like I bring a lot of pace, which is helpful for us going forward and defending, especially against very strong and fast teams like an LA Galaxy you're about to play this weekend, and especially against a Portland where they have very tricky wingers. I also think I bring a bit of composure, and I feel like I know when to speed it up and when to slow it down. I feel like I bring a lot of different aspects which can help the team, and the team is already so good, and I'm just happy that I'm able to just add my little things to make an even stronger team.
So after the end of last season, the team brings in Giannis Horn. You guys have a back and forth competing for that left back role. What were your goals in the offseason prior to the injury? What were you wanting to do with yourself physically and mentally coming into this year?
So first things first, Giannis is a very, very gifted player and very talented player. And honestly, it's a privilege to be able to compete with Giannis because I was able to learn so much from his game, especially him coming from the Bundesliga too. So going into the offseason, I definitely wanted to come in and work on my long balls, which is something that I hadn't really done before because I saw how good Giannis was at it. I wanted to work on my fitness because I felt like if I'm able to run more and do more and be able to meet the coach's demands, then that could allow me to win over the spot. So I headed into the offseason with those goals in mind, and I feel like I really achieved them. And unfortunately, I got injured a couple days before preseason, which didn't allow me to, show off my capabilities. But now I'm kind of getting my moment to really warm up.
And what happened with that injury? I mean, not a lot was disclosed, obviously, but, was it just kind of a freak accident?
Yeah, so it's crazy because I'm training in the offseason by myself, and I'm running up to shoot a ball. As I shoot thousands of balls, and then as I go to step, my right foot kind of rolled. I might have put too much weight onto my right foot, and then on the side, it broke. It broke right there, and then, I called Tyler the next day because I didn't think it was broken until I went to the ER, and then they told me it was broken. I called Tyler, and then Tyler's like, okay, you need to come to St. Louis right away. And then I found out that I had to get surgery. At first, it wasn't supposed to be surgery, but then they said that the best thing for the longevity of my career would be surgery. So, I went and got it done. And setbacks always happen, but it's always how you approach the setbacks. And I feel like I learned a lot while being injured, and I'm able to apply those principles which I learned to now.
I imagine there's got to be a lot of patience that goes into that because recovering from a bone is a lot different from recovering from a muscle injury. Have you felt like this has been kind of a steady progression? Have you had any setbacks, or have you been pretty confident with how this recovery's been?
I've been very confident with how the recovery's been, and that's a big thanks to my doctor, my surgeon, Dr. McCormick. We got X-rays done every 2 weeks throughout my recovery process, and we were always hoping to see a steady increase in my progress. So we always wanted to see a little bit more and more bone healing every single 2 weeks. And as long as we weren't regressing, we were happy with the direction we were moving in. And it's a big thanks to the physios, big thanks to Ty and Carly and Joel and Oki. And, it's a huge part on them because they made sure that I approached everything very safely, but, swiftly. So.
Well, they seem to have done a good job because it's been about a month or so since you've made your on-field return, and it seems like it's ramped up really quickly. Was this the plan not just in the past week with how many minutes you've racked up, but was this the plan to kind of get back this quick?
So that was the plan. Honestly, I was supposed to be back a little bit quicker, I believe, but I guess for some reason we might have taken a little bit slow. But yeah, this was always the plan all along, And as for the amount of minutes I've played throughout the course, I believe that's also been part of the plan, Just things to get me sharp, things to get my fitness going, things like that. Even City 2, it's always a blessing to play with my guys in City 2 because they're all doing so well. If I can add to that, I'm always grateful too. And I just like that the amount of trust that the coach has also given me when I play City 2, to build my confidence and to get my sharpness back. It's all part of the plan.
Well, speaking of City 2, talk to us about David Critchley, the manager of City 2 for the duration of this season. You've played under him a few times. What do you see in him as a coach that really makes you respond to him as a player?
Well, David Critchley, first things first, I have a lot of respect and admiration for the coach because it's like every time he speaks, he demands respect, because he's so intelligent with how he wants to play. He's a very, very smart coach and how he wants to approach things and the principles he plays and the way how he sees the game is much different than a lot of coaches. And I feel like even though we just transitioned from Coach Olaf to Critchley, you guys are able to see a difference in the way how the team plays, and that's all due to the coach's IQ and how he sees things. So honestly, I have a lot of respect for Coach Critchley.
What was the conversation like when he asked you to play for City 2? He mentioned it kind of offhanded to us last week. I think it was a Sunday. He asked you to play. So what was that conversation like? And was there ever any hesitation that you wanted to play for City 2 midweek?
So no, there was never any hesitation because like I said, it's always a privilege to play for City 2. Especially coming back from injury. I might not be as sharp as I used to be, or I might not be as fit as I used to be. So Coach Critch came to me and he said, what, let's use this game on Wednesday as an opportunity to work on my attacking game and also to build my confidence, because after coming from a long injury, 5 months, it's like, your confidence might be a little bit low. So this is a huge opportunity for me. And honestly, I didn't even hesitate. I said, yes, I'll play. And especially against North Texas, and we fell in the playoffs to them last year. And honestly, I kind of wanted my rematch. So it was good. It was a good game. And honestly, it's great playing under Coach Hack again. It's been a while, so it's good. I'm happy he got his first W.
And then 3 matches in 8 days or so. 2 of them you go the distance. How are you feeling physically right now?
I feel great. I feel great. I've been recovering. I've been getting my sleep. I've been eating right, so I feel great.
So this is kind of the perfect pace for you?
Perfect pace for me. Perfect pace for me.
And then what do you expect for the Galaxy game? Obviously, there's a lot of expectations for you, excitement for you. What are you expecting from yourself going into that match?
Well, I always expect to bring my best. I'm going to prepare as best as I can for Saturday, and I prepare and I expect myself to play as best as I possibly can, and that's being sharp in my duels, limiting unnecessary turnovers, advancing the play well, getting around Celio, overlapping, just being a threat, an absolute threat on attack and defense. That is what I expect from myself, and to be very, very solid defensively. That's number 1, and number 2 is to just be a threat on offense as well. So that's what I expect from myself.
All right, Jayden Reid, good luck this weekend. Thanks for the chat.